If you don't know who I am, my name is Devin Tracy. I've helped over 1,100 clients so far in my career, and right now I have multiple private communities where I help around 300 total business owners grow their businesses. And one of the ways that I do that is with morning daily team meetings where we go through these kind of conversations that are motivational, they're sales oriented, they're business oriented, they are helping start the day off right in the right trajectory. And I thought it might be helpful for the community at large if I just started sharing those with the world. So I started recording them so that I can distribute them on different platforms so other people can get access to that as well. So that's what this is, and enjoy. I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Thomas Edison. This is the reality of it. Failures are only existent if you believe failures are existent. If you actually adopt the mindset of I either win or I learn, then you actually either win or learn. The way that I typically think about it is everything in business is an experiment. Everything in business is a test. And so we don't know whether we are going to get the results we want or not until we run the test, until we run the experiment. We have a hypothesis. We made an observation, we have a hypothesis, and now we're testing it. And as long as we run the experiment and we learn from it, we haven't failed anything. This is the literal approach I take to my business. So for instance, I'm running ads and I'm trying to get my book funnel to work, to convert, right? And so I've been running ads for a week and I haven't had a single sale in my book funnel yet. And so, I'm spending money, I'm getting a lot of page views, yada yada, but I'm not getting any sales, right? So it's a $2.95 PDF ebook is the front end. And so I haven't gotten anybody to spend $3, but I spent $300 testing ads, or I don't even know how much I spent. I'm gonna say probably like $300, right? And so if you look at that and you think, oh, that's a failure, well then it is. And you did waste $300. But if you look at it and say, oh, I'm learning, and you understand the testing process and the iterative process of what it takes to get successful, that you're going to need to go through 10,000 things that don't work to figure out what works, if you understand that, then you wouldn't look at this as a failure. What you would look at it is you'd say, okay, well, what have we learned? And so far we've ran 4 ads, and we ran an ad that got a 0.67% click-through rate. And so that sucks. And so then we ran another ad that got a 0.71% click-through rate. That also sucks. We ran another ad that got a 0.46% click-through rate. That sucks, right? And so then we ran another ad, and that ad got a 2.98% click-through rate, right? So we're talking like 5, 6 times better than the other ads, right? Like absolutely crushing what the other ads have done. And that's actually really good, 2.98%. That's kind of on the upper end of what you should expect with purely cold traffic on most ad platforms. So like we're ballpark, this is good. And how did we do that? Well, we tested. We didn't just run ads at random. We learned from what we were doing. And so, for instance, the ad that's winning, what we changed wasn't the creative. What we changed wasn't the copy. What we changed was the targeting. And so we figured out targeting that's getting us a click-through rate. Now, that's getting clicks, and it's getting clicks when the ad is very clearly talking about the offer. And so the fact that we've gotten hundreds of clicks and we haven't had any purchases does tell us that there's something wrong with the landing page, right? The landing page isn't converting very well. And when we look at our landing page, that's the next problem. The next problem is the landing page. It's at about a 5% opt-in rate, which is pretty lousy. We should be able to get to 10%, especially since they clicked on an ad that told them about the thing they wanted. That's why they clicked on it, right? And it's only getting about a 5% click-through rate, which has still gotten us plenty of people on the checkout page, but nobody's checking out. So we have an issue on the checkout page as well. It's not converting. So what do we do next is we start testing different headlines on our landing page. We start testing different VSLs on our landing page. We keep the iterative process, but every single time we get 100 views, we then look at the data and we say, what can we learn from this data? And then we test and we tweak. And when we test and we tweak, we're kind of just target guessing, right? We're just like, all right, let's try this. All right, let's try this. And we do the same thing, by the way, in my company, we do the same thing with our social media posts. So on Facebook, for example, if you have a creator account, then you get to see professional dashboard and it tells you all of your metrics. So for instance, in the last 31 days or 28 days or whatever it is that it measures, on Facebook, I've got 24,700 views. I've had 592 content interactions. I've had 51 new followers. That's what we've done in the last month, right? And so I look at that and I compare that to a month ago and I compare that to 2 months ago. And then the cool thing is Facebook lets me look at all of my posts so I can actually see which posts are getting the most views, which posts are getting the most reach, which posts are getting the most engagement. And I can use that to start modeling and to start showing my audience more of what they want to see. And this is the process. And if you're data driven and you're data oriented and you think that way through everything, then you realize that everything works through the same basic lens. We can do the same thing with fulfillment. When we start walking through our SOPs and our clients aren't happy, we go, cool, what do we need to add or modify or take away from our SOPs to get our customer satisfaction rating up, right? What do we need to add or modify or take away to get our churn down? What do we need to add or modify or take away in order to improve overall customer experience or improve our K factor, which is like basically your referral rate, right? And we start tweaking things and we run tests and then we see how that plays out. And we recognize that the leg indicators that we care about might take months to see how it plays out, but then we do that again and we do it again and we do it again. And every step along the way, we're learning and so we're not failing, we're learning. We're either winning or we're learning, which means we're always learning unless we quit. And so the lesson that I want you to take away from this is that failure is not a thing. Failure is actually feedback. It teaches you what doesn't work. It gives you data to make adjustments. And if you make an adjustment and things get worse, you went the wrong way. Go the other way, right? So really what we ought to be doing is we should be reflecting. And then there's a meta level of this too. Like what are the new skills you're learning along the way? And how is it changing your character? How is it building your grit? And all of those things are so worthwhile. It is so worthwhile to simply be a better person. I had a conversation with my mom today where I mentioned something about how the way that the system is set up in the state that we live in makes it pretty easy to get healthcare if you're poor and pretty easy to get healthcare if you're extremely rich. But for everybody in the middle, it's pretty difficult. It's pretty hard. And my mom said something about how that's unfortunate. And I said, I disagree. And I say that as someone who's basically in the middle there. And I said that, there's the reality is that nothing worth having is ever handed to you, and no person worth the space they take up would ask for it to be handed to them anyway. And that's the point. You're learning and becoming a better person by going through it. You're becoming somebody who's more respectable, somebody that you more want to be, somebody that your kids and your grandkids will look up to in a way that you will be proud of. Anyway, that's what I have for you. Here's to your success.